We're going tiny. So we bought a tiny house about 6 months ago. We actually ended up buying the display model, so we didn't do like the build from start to finish and go through all the ins and outs, but I can share as much as you guys want me to share. I'll actually do a Q&A for tiny house living and any questions in regards to like budgets and things like that. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment below or DM me, whatever feels best for you. So a bit of a background story. We purchased this tiny house 6 months ago, but we have had land for about 3 years now in a beautiful spot in Queensland. And this land is literally 5 minutes from the beach, and it has so much beautiful, like so many beautiful trees. It has a dam on it. It has an amazing view of the ocean. It is a mountain as well. We have a lot of wildlife there, which is absolutely amazing. We have a little ducky family there at the moment. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful, very wholesome, just everything that you could want and ask for. We have 10.5 acres there, and it is a long way away from where I am right now. Where I am right now is in Brisbane City, and this is where we are living between. So we are living between Brisbane and this area that we purchased. So we bought this land about 3 years ago, and initially we had this plan that we were going to put an old Queenslander on the land. And what happened was we actually ended up getting scammed. $22,000. We put a deposit on an old Queenslander to be moved there, and it was pretty much just like fraud or whatever you want to call it. And we ended up going through this whole process, and I could definitely share that if anyone wants to know the ins and outs of that and how we overcame that. Again, that was just using all the mindset work that we've done, and I'm actually in a place where I'm so thankful that that happened, because it ended up saving us a lot of money. So yeah, we have ended up having this big journey. So we ended up wanting to, or originally we wanted to build a house there, and then we ended up going through the flows. We moved a little bit. We've lived in some other beautiful spots since then, just renting. And then I think it was like the beginning of last year, 2024, we said, like, what are we gonna do with this? We're paying this mortgage, we've just got this land in paradise. At the moment, we knew that we couldn't particularly live there full time because we are actually wedding singers as well. So we have a lot of work booked in advance. So we have about 12 to 18 months of work booked ahead. And so we were like, what do we do? And we've always wanted to go tiny. Like, we've always looked at tiny houses online, watched Living Big in a Tiny House a lot, and some other channels about tiny house living. We've always dreamed of what it would be like to just fully get rid of everything in our life, like our furniture, and just live with the bare necessities. We really love living simply. And honestly, in the past few years, like, we've owned 2 other houses, and one of them was a small 3-bedroom and the other one was a small 2-bedroom, but it was on a bit of a bigger, more needy piece of land, so we had to really maintain the trees because we had things like palm trees and stuff. And so after that, and then renting a few houses, we rented a 5-bedroom house plus a media room in like the suburbs, and then we also rented a 3-bedroom house in more of a country hinterland area and with a bigger block. And even though we've had like small houses and bigger houses and properties and things like that, we've never really been able to find something that we enjoyed maintaining. We've got to a point each time where it's just like, it feels like it's too much with the ambitions and career that we have. We have mostly work on weekends with our weddings, and then we also have our children full-time, so we're homeschooling. And just having 2 children and using multi-use spaces constantly for homeschooling and connecting, eating, playing, you know, all of the rest, it feels like a lot when it's a 5-bedroom plus house and the kids are like going into this one. You're kind of just like spending your whole time going around in circles. And same with like when you have land, it's like, okay, now you've cut the grass, but now you need to go trim the leaves off this plant and just all the things. And we're spending our time doing things that we don't particularly have a high value on. And we have also looked at having a cleaner as well as a garden maintenance man, and we have hired multiple, and they just haven't worked out, and it's just been more energy, more time trying to organize these people And then of course, like financially, it's like, what could be putting that money towards something else and things like that. Anyway, with our land, though it is 10.5 acres, it's not very needy land, if that makes sense. We do have areas like we will need to get a blower, for example, and like normal things like having to clear out the gutters and things like that for our rainwater tank. But because we have only purchased a tiny house, it's so much more maintainable. Like it's literally one strip to clean the gutters. It's not like this massive house where you're going around. And with our land, it's also not filled with grass, so we're not having to mow the lawns, things like that. So we just felt so much better with the purchase that we had, and it also the lifestyle that it was providing us. We're very close to the beach, and we're also near, it feels like bush meets beach, so it's like we've got the good kind of in between space. And then adding a tiny house just made sense. It was like, we're not having any more children, we just have 2 little girls and us. We have a cat, and possibly one day we might get a small dog. If we do get a dog, it would be someone or a dog that comes on the road with us, not necessarily like a massive dog that needs a lot of time and energy or space kind of thing. So tiny house was just perfect for us. And again, with the lifestyle that we live, we really wanted to just build a home base that has really low maintenance and something that we can kind of like come in and out of and not have to do much when we get back. So coming back and being like, okay, the grass needs doing, this needs doing, like that was not something that we wanted to do. And same with a massive house, it's like, I know that if we're away for a couple of months, we come back, there will be dust. Like I will need to wipe things. There's probably going to be some bird poop on a window. Like all of those things add up. And so for us, going tiny was just really one of those things that just felt really right and something that we were really called to do. Another thing about going tiny is again the lifestyle of having more of an outdoor lifestyle, more of an experience-based lifestyle, as opposed to getting caught up with purchasing something new all the time. Or you know, you have to get really intentional about the things that you are purchasing because you don't have much space to store it. And Brad and I really don't like having a lot of things. One thing that I will say is that we do really love furniture. Like when we go to op shops or thrift shops, we love finding amazing old furniture. And so that's probably been like the hardest thing, because I see things and I'm like, oh, that's so cute, but I've got nowhere to put it. But again, like it's helping me in so many ways, like not spending more money. I'm getting really intentional about the pieces that I do want in my home. And we're also doing it so that we're using what we already had. We haven't gone and purchased new things to fit inside this house and, you know, fit some kind of aesthetic. It has only been based on what we really love and enjoy. And so, and that we've already had. So like our bed cover is an op shop, a bed cover that I found and fell in love with. And we have our real life books, not books that, you know, coffee table books and things to look nice. Like even though that stuff is beautiful for some people, that's just not for us. So yeah, it just really made sense for us to set up this home base and something that is big enough for us to grow with. And we also have the option down the line to build a house, which we would like to do in the future. And that will be something that, again, will probably only be a very small and minimal based home, but it would be something that really embraces the view on our land, because right now we don't have the view, but we do have beautiful views of the trees and the dam as well. And also the other thing that we did think about is long term, having this home that could adapt into our children's home. Like when they move out, they can live in this, or we can gift that to other people to stay in if they want to come up for a little holiday and things like that. So there was a lot of thoughts that came into this process, and these were the main reasons why we decided to go with it. The other thing that was actually a huge green light, and I think is a huge green light for many people, is the amount of debt that you get into building or buying houses and things like that. We really wanted to, like our goal right now is over the next few years pay off all our debt. And we don't have massive debts, like we own our cars outright, we don't have credit cards, we just live off cash, if that makes sense. Like we just use what we have, and we have never owned a credit card either. And the only loans that we have is for our tiny house and our land, and that combined is less than what most people's mortgage would be here in Brisbane. So we're just really grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this and have this space to grow as a family, as well as create a space that's based around experience and life rather than things and materialistic objects or items. If you do have any questions again regarding like setting it up, what we're using, feel free to ask me. I'll do a Q&A. Otherwise, I might also do a little tiny house tour if you'd like that too. So please hit that like and subscribe button and you will be able to see more very soon.